All right, we're live.
All right, how's it going? All right, am I just getting started?
Yeah, you're all good. Take it
Oh,
away.
all right, all right, all right. Sorry, I was waiting for the grand introduction. No, I'm just joking.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. No,
I'm
take
totally
it away.
joking.
You're so good at introducing yourself. I was just opening the floor.
I'm totally joking. What's up, guys? Philip Foresto, brand ambassador for Redken, and today we're going to discuss one of my favorite things in the entire world, and that is Redken Shades EQ. As you guys can see, today I have my mannequin here. Let me get her off of this janky headstand I have going on. But as you guys can see, she is already a solid blonde, and this demonstration I'm actually really excited about because it's pretty different from what I typically showcase. With that being said, I'm typically doing, natural lived-in balayage colors on clients that tend to have natural levels 5, 6s, and 7s, and then I'm going in and creating highlights. But today, we get these clients sometimes. They're the clients that have been pre-lightened too much already, and they're looking to restore depth and dimension back into their hair. And that's a really important thing. I feel like that's something that we don't always focus on enough, is almost like the reverse balayage or the reverse version of a lived-in color. And I just feel like this is a really good example for me to showcase to you the power of Redken Shades EQ, how I utilize them, how well they work and how effective they work. And even for a demi-permanent color, how great the coverage really is when formulated and applied properly. And with all of that technical mumbo jumbo being said, let's get right into it. Again, as you guys can see, my mannequin is a yellowy kind of natural level 9, which is good because before we get started, I'd like to say typically when we have a client who's already blonde, when she's a level 9, borderline 10, what happens is the hair has obviously been pre-lightened and we have little to no pigment left into the hair. So sometimes when we go in and we formulate for these clients when it comes to low lights or shadow groups or recreating depth, without knowing how to formulate and apply properly, what can happen is we can end up with a very translucent result or a color that falls out very easily. And so I'm going to show you how I would approach this scenario in the salon, which is a scenario I come across quite often. I have a lot of clients that come to me and see, again, my very dimensional contrasty work, but they're in this position due to being highlighted for years, over the years, and they want to put some life back into the hair. So again, I have my mannequin section with a very basic sectioning. We're giving her a down the middle natural part with 2 quadrants on each side in the front of her natural part. And then again, very standard over the ears and 2 quadrants in the back. My first tip to you is keep a towel nearby because you're going to be wanting to wipe your hands off regularly throughout the application just to avoid contaminating the sections that you still want to remain blonde. This is a very quick technique, and that's what I really love about it, is it's very quick. And so if you have that client coming in who wants to restore depth and dimension back into their hair and they're one of these, this is at least let's bring you back to this point first, and then we can build on this look from here. So this will be your first step into incorporating depth back into the hair. Formulation is going to be key because, of course, if I were to come in and just put a neutral color over this, I would probably, again, run into something a little too translucent, maybe something a little muddy, or at least something that would fall out of the hair quickly. So it's important to reference the color wheel and, our basic education on the laws of color. And so when we're putting color into an all blonde situation like this, we need to make sure we put the supporting tones back into the hair that were and have been removed through the lightening process. And by that, I mean coming from a brunette to a blonde, We obviously run across reds, oranges, and yellows, and those pigments are crucial to supporting those beautiful mushroom lived-in rich browns, which we're trying to create today. So with all of that being said, my formulation for today, I'm going to be trying to create a really nice level 6, shadowy, melty version of low lights, but still sectioning out and retaining some of this blonde that will look and act as a very beautiful highlight for the finished result. My formulation is going to be, this is a poor version of, this isn't a good example because the label here on the bottle seems to be a little washed out. However, this is shades EQ 06 NB. And the reason I'm going to start with the NB series is because it does have that touch of natural, beautiful level 6 browns that we want to see, but it also has a very nice warm undertone. And not that we're going for a warm result, but it is those underlining warm tones that are going to act as a filler to the hair and also going to act as an anchor to the browns that we do want to see. And just to enhance and further fill the hair, which again is very crucial to holding on to and anchoring the brown that we want. This is where it gets a little scary, but just trust the process, trust the color wheel. We're going to be also using a level 6 Shades EQ from the C series. And again, this is a very rich cayenne-esque red, but we're just going to be incorporating just a little bit. We won't be getting a red result. Stick around for the finished results that I will be posting. This again is just going to really be the anchor to the beautiful rich brown we're going to get. If you guys follow me on Instagram, again, I am part of the Redken team. I have a very close friend, also part of the Redken team, Daniel Mora, who's a rock star. I actually called him up this morning, ran this by him. I'm like, you're the king of this. He's like, bro, go for the C's. So I'm really excited to showcase this technique to you guys. So let's get started. I'm going to get mixed up right now. We're going to go in with about 2 ounces of the 06 NB on shades first. So I have my scale over here. That's what I'm doing. Let me turn her on. And by the way, thank you guys so much for tuning in today, spending your Tuesday afternoon with me. I'm going to make this as exciting and educational as possible for you guys. All right, so we got about 2 ounces 06 NB. And for the C, again, 2 ounces of the 06 NB. When it comes to the C, because it is a very vibrant red color that we just want to use, again, as an anchor for our base, we're going to be using gram-wise about 10 grams, really just a little bit, because we don't want a red-brown result. We just want to fill this hair and give that neutral color we're looking for, an anchor. So I'm just dabbing this into my formulation, and I can't wait to show you guys how quick this application is, how effective this application is. And then I really hope that you guys reach out to me via Facebook or Instagram and show me, or at least tell me about what you were able to create and how much you love this tip and trick. We're getting mixed up here with the Shades EQ processing liquid, which I'm sure you guys are super familiar with since it is the best color on the planet, correct? We're going to be mixing equal parts. I'm at my house right now. I'm using I forgot my tray in the salon, so I'm actually using one of my bar stools to my island in my kitchen. So it's a little low and a little hilarious for me right now. All right, we're getting mixed up. If I spill this on the stool, I will have to sleep outside. My wife is right here next to me. She's laughing. For now. All right, beautiful. So I have my formulation here. Not that this means anything, but you guys can see this beautiful consistency that I get from the Shades EQ. And this is why I love Shades EQ, is especially because of the consistency. Because in situations like this, I will be able to move quickly, efficiently, and know that I'm getting the ultimate saturation, which within a situation like this, saturation is absolute key. When you're working with a demi-permanent color, you have to understand that versus a permanent color, we're not working with a color that's going to expand itself. Where it is applied is where it's going to live. In other words, if you miss a spot or it's not thoroughly saturated, you will end up with inconsistent results or spottiness. And so just making sure that you really saturate those sections are going to give you a premium result. And that's what we're looking for. That's what our clients are looking for. That's how we stay up and ahead. So let's get started. So first, we're going to start with almost a global application right here in the back. Again, I have my 4 quadrants. The goal for this application is to move quickly and efficiently. And I'm just going to start to apply this formulation just about an inch off of that root. Sorry, she's a little shaky because we have this makeshift mannequin stand that we're using today. Go ahead and add a little bit of this. Babe, will you grab me the 06 NB? I just want a little bit more. While she's doing that, I'm going to continue to work in my formula and just dragging that about an inch, inch and a half into the hair, just as if it were a pretty standard global application. And you know what? I know this sounds a little scary, but with this technique, it's okay to be a little bit messy. We obviously don't want to be sloppy. There's a difference between messy and sloppy, at least in my mind there is. And with that being said, sometimes a little bit of an imperfection here and there gives it authenticity. It gives it that touch that, not to sound cheesy, but that Mother Nature would intend on. And you know, hair itself, and as it grows in, and as we're striving for these very lived-in tones, you know, it's almost imperfectly perfect, and that's what I like to create, is that very natural look. So we'll start with this quadrant. As you guys can see, I just outlined my first quadrant here, and this is where it gets quick, fun, and easy. I'm going to take a foil, keep it right here actually, and I'm going to show you how we're going to start this application. With this first section here, we're going to take a diagonal section, be your own artist, and depending on densities, the density of your client and the goal that you and your client have discussed will ultimately determine the thickness of your sections. Have fun with it, switch it up. You can make them thinner or thicker. We're going to kind of take this diagonal back section into the head like that. And then we're going to continue working with those diagonal back sections all the way to the front of the head, and almost, let me turn her sideways so I can show you. We'll keep up with these diagonal backs all the way to the front to where we're almost creating this pie shape. And while creating that pie shape, what we will be doing is our first section will be saturated with our base color, which will be our low light. The next section will be left out. The next section will be saturated fully again. The next section left out. The next section fully saturated again, and so on and so forth. And this will create a very soft layer of dimensional color all the way till we get to the front, where we'll leave out our money piece. And this will look as if we've highlighted the hair, but really just recreated depth and dimension back into the hair in a very nice, soft way.
Hey, Philip.
Yes.
Hey, it's Heather from BTC.
What's up, Heather?
Questions coming in. You're doing a great job of explaining everything, so you're getting a ton of love in the comments. But we had a question from Sherry, who is asking, can you explain the basis of the NB? And if it already contains the 3 primaries, why add more red C?
You know, that's a great question, and I really like it. It's because the NB on its own does already entail the primary pigments that we are looking for to restore this color. However, it almost acts as a safety blanket to come in and add a little bit more warmth, because I find that with these colors being based on the amount of washes a client has while wearing this color, it's also determines the life of it. I find that by filling it even more so than the NBs, that I get a little bit more leverage, a little bit more of an anchor. And even if it does fill out to be and process a little too much on the warm side due to the C, I'm still able to, at some point of the process, let's say we're 15, 20 minutes into the process, I'm like, this is still a little bit warmer than I would like. I can come back in on top of this application without rinsing it out and counteract it. But at least in the beginning of the application, I know I have the tones inside of the hair that I need to really hold on to this color. And I've just had too many scenarios where, you know, my lowlights fell out or faded, or it looked good when the client left, but shortly after a few washes, they were gone. And this just really gives me that, I guess, the security. So once I have that first section applied, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take a foil, and just to keep everything neat and away from the hair that I don't want to contaminate, we're going to go ahead and foil that one out. Let me actually use my color for this. But, you know, working with these warmer tones when it comes to looking for a neutral tone can be very scary, especially during the process time, because, you know, when it goes onto the hair and it's in the bowl, it's so red and so terrifying. And this just leads back to the basics of trusting the process and to going back to the basics of hair color and really going back to that color wheel and being like, this is what the hair needs and requires. This is the processing time that is needed and required. Let's put it on, kind of close one eye, pray to the hair gods, and hope for the best and let it do its thing. But I can promise you, at the end, you'll be happy that you did. So now we're coming up to our second section already. And after I break down a few of these sections for you, I'm looking for my clip that I just set down. I'm sorry. There we go. I will begin to move a little bit quicker just to show you how quick and easy this application really is. So again, we started off with our first low light. We now have our next section here that I'm going to want to leave blonde, but I'm still going to want to create a shadow root on her. So I'm just lightly feathering down. And now I can just leave this section completely out. And if you want, you can come back in and create a little bit more softness to that. But what happens is once we continue with this alternating pattern of low light and highlight, when it's blow dried or just dried in general, the way it falls because of our diagonal sectioning is so soft and lived in, you would almost never guess that you're able to accomplish it with such a quick and easy technique. And I love quick and easy techniques. I find sometimes when we overthink is when we get lost. And if we can just keep an idea and a goal in our mind and work efficiently and with a goal, that we can create beautiful hair consistently, which is what I believe it's all about. Consistency is key. So we're on to our next section. We're going to go ahead and get that root in there. Come underneath. Resaturate. Saturation is key. I'm just going to use my hands as a support system. Typically, when highlighting, I love to use a board, which if you guys follow me, you guys know that I always work with a board. The reason being is for saturation. It gives me a nice strong foundation underneath my hair section that allows me to penetrate the product efficiently and get a nice, long-lasting, balanced result. Again, and because of the consistency of the Shades EQ itself, I'm able to saturate this extremely easily and extremely quickly. It adds shine. It's beautiful. It does what it says it does. I live by this. That section's going into my foil. And we're really just putting this into a foil, again, to make sure that we're not compromising our highlighted sections that we're leaving out in between.
We have a question from Marina. She's asking, how long will this last before it fades out?
So that's a great question. Sorry if I'm too close or too far. I'm trying to get, I'm sure you want to see the mannequin more than you want to see my face, so I'm working a little closely. In my experience, the Shades EQ itself, and you know what, for that matter, color in general is most easily it's easiest to say that it's based on your shampooing and your lifestyle. So it's going to be different for everybody. You know, I have clients, just as you guys do, who come in and live very active lifestyles, and irregardless of what you preach to them on the importance of not over shampooing, they're going to do it anyways. And so I find with those clients, it doesn't last as long. And, you know, that's really why client education is almost so key, because even if they're not going to do what you say they should do, and they're not going to do what they know they should do, at least by that point you've done your job. And I think that's what's most important. So I would say ultimately it comes down to how your client is going to treat their hair and take care of their hair and take care of the color, the products that they're using. But typically I'd like to say it goes by the amount of shampoos that they have. I always tell my clients, look, you're sitting in my chair for quite a while. You're paying a pretty penny. You're paying for a premium service. You're spending your day here. You're pre-booking your appointments. This is a luxury. This is important. This is your identity. This is also, to be selfish, my work. You know, I want to be able to showcase my work on you, and I want you to take care of it so that other people can see it, so other people can be inspired to get their hair done by me. And you know, I always say this. I always say, make sure you're using a really good premium product, shampoo, and conditioner. I know that's a tale as old as time, but the longer I've done hair, the longer I've done color, the more I've realized that is so important. You know, you wouldn't wash a designer silk dress with Dawn shampoo, correct? Because what's going to happen is we're going to get fadage. We're going to ruin a really nice product when we know better. And at the same time, another really good analogy to use as far as how long this is going to last is if I have two of these shirts right here, two of these black shirts, and I wash one of these shirts every day, and I wash the exact same shirt every third day, by the end of 1 or 2 months' time, one is going to look significantly newer than the other. One is going to last significantly longer than the other. So to answer your question, how long will this last or should it last, comes down to the care that your clients are taking care of, how your clients are taking care of the hair.
Awesome. Sherry had a question a little bit ago. Since there's already so much warmth, is there anything in shades that has a violet base?
Absolutely. Some of my favorite shades EQs have a violet base. Actually, when it comes to blonding, which if you guys follow me, you know this about me, I am a huge blonding fanatic, which is why I wanted to showcase something a little bit differently from you guys, just to give you guys a little bit of variety. However, with that being said, the 10VV or even the 9VV might be my favorite color shade from shades of all time, if I had to guess. And when it comes to counteracting warm tones, it's going to do such a beautiful job. However, I want to show you guys, I know coming out of the bowl and off of the brush and onto the head initially, this looked fire engine red, but I want to show you how much it's already browning out. You see that? This is why we trust the process. This is why we can't be afraid to do the right thing.
Awesome. And could you repeat your formula again?
Absolutely. So I did 2 ounces of 06 NB, and I did just a drop, I'd say about 10 grams of 6C. And that was for my anchor. You know, you probably could get away with just using the 06 NB on its own, because as said earlier, it does have the supporting pigments in it necessary to accomplish our goal today. However, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I do trust the color wheel. I trust the process. I know this works. You're going to see that it works. And with that being said, for so long, even myself with my clients, I was so obsessed with ashy, 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 cool, cool, cool. I really am happy to say that I really finally feel that we have finally moved into embracing warmer, richer tones. I find they bring more life. I find that they bring more vibrance. They they develop a more expensive lived-in look, and this just supports all of those things that I find the industry and trends are moving into, because it's not all about this. I feel like people get so carried away with making it cool, and they're so scared to incorporate warm tones that I really almost see like these muddy tones and these cooler tones, or these tones that fall out of the hair so quickly, or clients that leave the salon looking great but are coming back and saying that after 3 shampoos their lowlights are gone. This is how you eliminate that problem. This is why I'm showing it to you today, because I see it, I hear it too much. We want to make our clients happy. I'm just mimicking the exact same sectioning pattern and applications I did on the other side now.
All right. Let's see. Doris has a question. To refresh your blonde areas on the next visit, are you re-lightening the root shadow?
So in this scenario, this would be a client that had been, I like to say that this client wasn't coming to me to begin with. She was coming to me as a client who has been getting her hair highlighted for years, more than likely has seen a dozen or so different hairstylists who have incorporated a bunch of different techniques, and she is looking for a fresh start. So I come in and I utilize this technique and application as a brand new foundation. So the next visit, I would probably come in with either some painting, some balayage-esque technique, or baby lights to fine detail. I would even make sure to tell this client that, look, today we're reestablishing a foundation, because foundation is key to everything. And once we have our foundation, we're going to build on that foundation. And from there, we're going to create your dream color. So today we would do this. Next time I would probably gravitate more towards like a baby light or a teasy light technique to incorporate, because today we're going to almost have, I hate to use the word chunky, but almost like this ribbony, chunkier, but beautiful effect. So next time I would use something a little bit more dainty, something a little bit more fine to balance out the larger sections of separation that we'll have with this. And that would just add another dimension of color, another layer, and a little bit more excitement to this color. So we're still alternating low light to highlight, if you will, and just making sure that we're saturating our sections. We're working smoothly and clean and moving up the head quickly, because this is a very user-friendly application. If it weren't for me demonstrating to you right now and breaking this down, I believe that any of you out there doing this could get through this application in 15, 20 minutes tops.
All right. Sherry has a question. Did you use any kind of porosity equalizer prior to application?
I didn't. And that's a great question, by the way. Depending on the client, I may or may not. By that, I mean, if I have a client that comes in and she is one of those clients who's been around the world when it comes to previous hairstylists, typically with that, I see, and I'm sure you guys have all seen, we have level 10s, level 9s, level 8s, and we don't have as consistent as a palette as we do today to where I can just go in without evening out the porosity. So when I'm dealing with a client who's just like, look, I've tried everybody kind of deal and I need you to fix this, I probably would, just to give me a little bit of security, because in those scenarios, I may be tackling and neutralizing one of the 3 or 4 different tones she has in her hair, and then maybe compromising some of the other tones that it's not formulated for. And, you know, porosity becomes an issue in those situations also because you're probably also working with damaged hair or over-processed hair that would absorb this in a way that it shouldn't be absorbed, while some of the areas are taking it the way it should. So it really comes down to your client's color history and natural texture and porosity to begin with to determine whether or not you would even that out or incorporate something into it to do so. All right. And I would say these sections that I'm working with right now are probably about 1 inch thick. And again, it goes back to your client's goals and porosity and texture. It also comes down to you getting to be your own artist to determine whether or not, you know, you want to, how big your sections want to be. You can even do this sometimes. I like to take my fine-tooth comb, and even on these highlighted sections that I know I'm leaving out, don't be afraid, but I like to take my comb and drag it down all the way through the ends just to create a really nice feathered blend. And I may even come back and do that to the rest of these just to really eliminate any lines of demarcation. Keep a towel nearby in case you do get a snag, in case you do get a little product towards those ends where you don't want it, and you can wipe it off very quickly. Love the Shades EQ again because of how easily this is penetrating through even thick sections and how easily I'm able to get it applied. If you guys have worked with more cream colors, which are also great and serve a purpose, but in a scenario like this, I really just feel like I couldn't be working any faster, which makes me happy. Makes my client happy too.
All right, Cassie has a question. Do you ever use mesh instead of foils to prevent slipping?
I do. I'll be honest, and I don't know if this is the right thing to say or the wrong thing to say, but I like to think that you guys are here for me and my 2 cents. I love and hate mesh, and I'll tell you why. I love it because of its texture. I love that I can see through the mesh and I can see how my process is going without opening up the foils individually. And I really believe that it looks cool and creates a buzz with my clients and other people's clients because it's something different. The downside, in my opinion, is washing them is just such a chore, you know? And so after I'm done with my applications, I'm like, man, I got a lot of mesh to clean off individually. So I have a love-hate relationship with mesh, but could you use them for this? Would it work? Could you get a beautiful result with them? Absolutely. I'm going to continue to utilize my comb through technique that I was explaining to you earlier. And I'm even going to show you another trick that I really like to use. I'll take the back of my hand and I'll just lightly feather that low light down. And you can see how soft of a blend that gives me. It's just going to really eliminate any line of demarcation that we could potentially get. Last section here in the back on this side. And we'll be finishing just as we did on the other side with a solid low light to take the finish here in the crown area. And I don't know how this is showing up exactly on camera, but I really just want to emphasize on the fact that when we first started this application, it was looking very red and very coppery. And even my heart was kind of like, this shit better work out for the sake of this demonstration. However, just trusting the process, this is browning out so beautiful that I'm sincerely inspired. So we're all, you know, getting a little bit of an inspiration today. I can't wait to showcase the finished result later for you guys.
All right. Cassie has another question. She is asking, have you worked with levels 1 through 4 brunettes or used this technique to get clients that dark?
I'll be 100% honest with you, and the answer is no. I haven't. Do I have faith that utilizing this formulation exactly with those lower levels, could you achieve it? Yes, absolutely. Have I personally? No, because I'll be honest with you guys, I'll be transparent. I'm a real artist, just like you guys. I work and own a salon that I take clients in every day in between traveling and educating. And so I deal with these scenarios in just the way that you guys do as well. And I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and my strengths lie with like levels 5 as my darkest and above. When it comes to those 1s, 2s, and 3s, I just find that those are other artists' fortes where they can really thrive, and they know how to utilize certain applications and formulas to make them look amazing. I just personally don't work with as much of them as I would potentially like to. But do I have faith that you could utilize this formulation, utilizing those darker levels? Absolutely. So now that we've done the back, you guys can see we're completely done with the back already. We're going to go ahead, move to the front, and do the exact same thing. I'm going to start here in this behind the ear sectioning. And again, we're going to be utilizing these diagonal sections. 1 saturated, 1 out. 1 saturated, 1 out, 1 saturated, all the way until we get to the money piece, which will be left out. So now that I've broken that down to you, I'm just going to try to move a little bit quickly because we don't have as much time as I'd like to today. I'd love to spend as much time with you guys as possible, but I also want you guys to be able to get the full effect and the full demonstration. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I am here for you guys. Creating that really nice shadow, recreating that depth that she has lost through being over-processed for potentially years, through potentially going to multiple stylists, and she just sees all these beautiful dimensional colors on Instagram, and she's just jonesing for a refresh, jonesing for a fresh start. This is the perfect fresh start, in my opinion. It's going to give you a beautiful foundation to build on. And once you show them how beautiful this works, because I can promise you right now, when you have these clients who are already blonde, your consultation of trying to convince them to go dark or to reincorporate dark is going to scare the bejesus out of them. So once you get them on board, it's important to deliver so that you can keep that client. The best way to keep a client is to keep your word. And so this is going to give you that great foundation. They're going to feel good even after the first step, which is this, which is the scariest. And if you can get them happy with this application, they're going to stick with you through it until the very end. Again, I just love how the Shades EQ just works directly through the hair so quickly, giving me such good saturation. Because again, I can't stress it enough, saturation is key. And the brown and the neutral color I'm pulling through this, even with the NB, even with the C, is so neutral and so rich and so beautiful. And I hope you guys keep up with me later because I am going to finish this out. I'm going to blow dry her. And I'm going to show you exactly what this did and what I was able to accomplish with just this technique. I can already see how beautiful this tone is going to be. It's giving Getting me very excited. Creating natural, a very natural transition, something soft and authentic. I said it at the beginning, I want to say it again. For anybody that has taken time to watch this demonstration today, give yourself a pat on the back. I'm not trying to sound cheesy. I'm not trying to sound cliche. I'm not trying to feed you guys any BS. But this is the key, you guys. Even if this isn't the newest, coolest thing you've ever seen before, you might just pick up one single little tip out of this entire demo today that can inspire you or change your game or change your confidence or give you one new client. And if I can do that, or if you can do that, we all win. Okay? And winning's no fun unless your friends are winning with you. I don't like the term "it's lonely at the top." I want to win with all my friends. And I want you guys to win with all of your friends. We might have to get new bar stools after this.
Wow.
I'm just joking. I'm going to try to show you guys this one more time. That big red scary color is just giving us the richest, most gorgeous neutral tone possible. No scariness anymore. Just beautiful hair color. To recap on that formulation, 6NB, 2 ounces with about 10 grams of 6C. That's going to be our anchor. That's what's going to give us our richness. That's what's going to let this color last. Just dragging that through with my brush and then swiping it down with my hands to create something beautiful. And I want to say thank you to Behind the Chair and to Facebook and to Redkin, to all you amazing people on your end for giving me the opportunity to share with you today. Normally, I don't get my client's face this messy, but she's not going to talk back, so it's okay. All right, we're starting to move towards that money piece. I'm trying to show you guys and not block at the same time. All right, let's see. So let's go ahead and just do it like this. Let's go ahead and section out our money piece. When it comes to the money piece, you guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of a pro tip here. This is how I like to determine where should that money piece sit. I turn my client to the side just like this, which this is the side of her face. Let's see. I like to take my comb, rest it on the top of her head, just like that. And right where I can find that arch here, where the top of that head starts to round off towards the front, I'll use that as my guide for the top of the money piece. And then from there, I will create a triangle and I'll come right down to the, to the arch of her eyebrow. So where the head rounds from the top to the arch of the eyebrow is going to almost always give you the perfect sized money piece. Try it out. Let me know what you think. With that being said, this will be our last low light here on this side.
All right, we have a question. What is your desired end result level? Are you going for a level 6?
Correct. A level 6, utilizing the pre-existing blonde as my highlight. But yes, a level 6. In my experience, there is a possibility that this level 6, once washed and blow dried, will look like a level 7, and I'm completely okay with that. But I think she would be too. All right. So last low light for that quadrant. I'm just brushing it through, making sure my saturation is great. Rubbing it in there a little bit. We're going to put her in a foil. Very important to keep a towel on you. You can get a little messy. And again, you don't want to contaminate any of the blonde. So we're sectioning that last piece out. I'm going to go ahead and clean her face up just a little bit. Show her a little respect. And as you guys can see, I'm left then with just that muddy piece out. So I'll have some fun with it. I'll get creative. I'll take a little bit of that low light. I'll feather down on it a little bit. Let me see if I can turn around. This is obviously not how I would do this, but for the camera's sake, just create a little bit of a nice lived-in shadow, a little bit of a contour, dropping it as I move into the interior of the hair. And then even from there, what I would like to do is take my fine-tooth comb, which you guys know I love to work with if you follow me, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag that in for something really seamless. And then just use my finger and almost finger paint and create something customized, soft, and beautiful for my client. Make her feel special. And now we're done with that side. So as you guys can see, we're 75% done with this. We have the 2 back quadrants and the right-hand side of her face done. We're left with one more section over here that we would do the exact same thing with as the other side. You're going to have to give me just about 30 seconds. I'm going to mix a little bit more for this last quadrant. All right, 6NB with a little 6C for my anchor, and equal parts with the Shades EQ processing liquid. And I'm going to move through this quickly for you guys because I know we're on a schedule, but I love to talk, and I love to share, and I love to answer questions. I tend to drag these things out. Thank you for your patience. Give me 5 more minutes, if possible. I'm going to go ahead and create my outline. And again, make sure to stick around on my Instagram and on Facebook to catch the finished results because I cannot wait to share. All right, find a good angle for you guys, and then I'll move quickly for you guys. And again, this is what I would tell my clients is going to be our initial transition back into a dimensional hair color with depth. It is not necessarily our finished perfect end result, especially when referencing these beautiful pictures that we see on Instagram, but this is how we're going to get there. Step one is always going to be the most important. Your foundation is always going to be the most important. That's what you're going to build on. If I don't do step one properly and I don't formulate and apply properly this time, when she comes back for what should be round two for detailing, this will be washed out, lost, muddy. She'll be unhappy. She'll feel like she has wasted time and money. So this is a very important step, and that's why I wanted to share it with you guys today. Almost there, you guys. Jewel, come hold this over here. I'm going to have my wife assist me. I do typically work with an assistant, so I'm used to having somebody hold the hair. If you don't have an assistant, I could have placed a foil there on the mannequin to overlay this hair without it getting contaminated by the color on the other side. But since I have her here, I'm going to use her. I hope you guys are taking something away from this today. I hope that you guys are inspired by at least something and that you can add this to your arsenal and make yourself more successful and efficient and educated in the salon, which, trust me, will help grow your business, make you happy, make your clients happy, put a little cash in your pocket. It's a win-win. Even when you're foiling too like this, sometimes I go underneath and wipe the bottom of that foil in case my hands had too much product on them. Again, just to make sure I'm not contaminating any of the hair that I don't want contaminated. Moving along. We have about a minute and a half left of this application, and I'm just going to show you, right as soon as I'm done with this, what this back is already looking like, so you can see how gorgeous and rich this brown is, and how there is no indication of something red or warm or hot root, and how trusting the color wheel pays off. Last section to low light. Saturation is key. Shades of EQ are the absolute best in my opinion. I've been working with Redken Shades EQ for a decade now, and I fall more in love with every head of hair that I do, with every application. I become more impressed. In my opinion, they're second to none. They stay on top of every trend. They're extremely revolutionary. They just keep improving and improving and improving, which makes me excited, makes my clients excited because I'm sure to tell them whether they understand it or not. It's always nice to keep your clients in the loop, to keep them excited, to let them know you're excited. It goes a long way. And last but not least, before I sign off on the whole how obsessed I am with Shades EQ, as you guys know, Shades EQ just came out with Shades EQ Bonder Inside, which is huge. It was already absolutely amazing that they came out with the flash lift bonder inside, which is the only lightener that I use for obvious reasons. It's incredible. But the built-in bonders, you guys, come on. There's nothing better than added extra protection and added extra shine. This gives us security. This gives our clients security. It just makes everything that much better. And that is something to be excited about. That is something to get excited about. So thank you, Shades EQ, for always staying on top and ahead of the game. Make sure I got balance over here with this. Almost done here, and I'm just going to show you guys the back, and then we'll sign off. And then you can stay tuned for the results. Got a little color on your nose, I'm sorry. She looks like Rudolph. I have super cheesy dad jokes, you guys. I'm sorry about it. All right, we're done with this, okay? Let's give you a little bit of an up close and personal. Again, we have, this is the, let me see, I'm a little backwards. This is our money piece section that we did first. As you can see, it's already developing in comparison to our application that we just applied, which has that scary red. Oh no, is my blonde going to go red? No, look what's happened here. We already have this gorgeous rich brown that you can just already tell is going to stay and last. And then I'm going to turn her around again back here. No indication of that. The C series or even the NB with that warmer underlining secondary tone. This is properly filling the hair, anchoring your color, and trusting the process. I can't wait to share the end result with you guys. Thank you for tuning in, sticking around. I hope you took something away. Stay tuned for the finished result.
Thanks, Philip. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you came on late, you can go back and rewatch this over and over again. So if you feel like some of your questions weren't answered, it was probably answered early on. So just go back and rewatch it as much as y'all want. And thanks. This was amazing. Thanks, Philip.
Thank you.
Have a good one, and we'll be staying tuned to see the final result. We can't wait.
Talk to you guys soon.